right, hey guys, Mr. Kyle Myers Mathematics, and let's just jump right into it. This is work word problems. That is really hard to say fast. Let's go ahead and dig into number one here. It says, working alone, Ryan can dig a 10-foot by 10-foot hole in 5 hours. Oh, good for you, Ryan. So the 10-foot by 10-foot thing really doesn't matter. You're going to see as we go on here, like they're going to mention all these different scenarios, but don't let those numbers throw you off, right? These numbers, it doesn't matter, right? And then technically holes also like have a depth, so really it should have a depth in there. But none of that really matters, so don't worry about those numbers. You don't need those numbers to solve the problem. Just focus on how long it takes each person to do the work as you go along here. So Ryan in 5 hours, Castell can dig the same hole in 6 hours. Oh, cool. Good for you, Castell. Not as good as Ryan, though, because Ryan does it faster. So Ryan's better, I guess. And then they want to know, how long would it take them if they worked together? Oh, how nice. So you might be thinking, oh, well, if Ryan and Castell both dug a hole in 5 hours, they both took the same amount of time, well then, it would take half the time, right? And you would be right. It would be. But when they take a different amount of time, you can't just take half of the average, right? So you might be thinking like, oh, we'll just take the average, so 5 and 6, okay, the average is 5.5. Take half of that. So that would actually be pretty close to the right answer on this question, but it wouldn't be completely correct, which is what your teacher will want from you. So we have to do it the way that they want you to do it, which is, the right way. It doesn't matter as much if they take roughly the same amount of time. So let's go ahead and look at it, right? So Ryan digs a hole in 5 hours. Okay, so they're trying to get the job done, right? They're trying to get the job done. That's what all of these questions amount to. They're trying to get a job done. Okay, so one job, right? And I don't know why capital J is there. It's not Job. Don't be confused with the book of the Bible. That's job. So one job done in 5 hours. That's a rate, right? Like when you're driving on the road, it's like, 45 miles per hour. 45 miles in 1 hour, right? So this is a rate. This is his rate. Well, it's going to take Ryan 5 hours to do one job, right? But if he's working with Castell, it's going to take him some amount of time we don't know. We don't know. That's what we're solving for. We're solving for how long would it take them if they worked together. So Ryan's going to take H. You could use H, you could use X. I think later on I'll end up using X, but I'm going to use H for right now. H for hours. All right, so we don't know. But they're working together, so plus the other guy, Castell, he does one job, right? So he digs the ditch, right? Does one job in 6 hours. Okay? So then you would think like, oh, I'd have multiplied it by some other letter because H is already taken. Well, actually no, because if you think about it, if they work together, then, I mean, they don't like say this specifically, but if they're working together, if you think about two people working together on a job, then you're like, okay, well, then they're starting at the exact same time, like ready, set, go, they both start. And then when the job is done, right, they're working together the whole time, the job is done, they're both done. So they both take the same amount of time, so you can use the same letter. You just use H, right? Now, so all of this equates to the job getting done, right? So if you look here, like, okay, times it by a certain amount of hours, that's going to equal like a portion of the job. And so the hours would cancel, right? Like units stuff happens. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the job done, right? So it equals one job done. One job. So this is the formula. This is what you will use for all these questions. And we're going to alter it just a little bit as we go. So that way you don't have to solve it. You can just kind of plug it into the calculator. But this is the formula. This is the thing that you want to use to solve the questions. So let's clean this up. Let's get rid of all these extra units, right? We don't need all that stuff. That's if you just were to look at this by itself, like without me explaining it, you'd be like, what? What is that? What is that garbage? Well, let's rewrite this. So 1/5 H plus 1/6 H equals 1. Oh, that's a lot nicer. So as fractions, so fractions are gross, but that's a lot nicer without all the unit stuff in it. So this is the formula: 1 over the amount of time the first person takes times H plus 1 over the amount of time that the other person takes times h equals 1, right? They're trying to get the job done. They would only not equal 1 if they said, like, how long would it take them to work together to dig 2 ditches? Then you would equal it to 2, right? But usually it's 1. So let's go ahead and solve this. We've got an equation. So at this point, we're just solving an equation, right? So I'm not going to spend too much time explaining how to solve the equation. I'm not going to go really in depth with this. If you need some help with solving equations, I've got some other videos that I'll link in the description below on how to solve equations and where I kind of go step by step and really work it out. But here's what we want to do, right? So this is a little thing I like to do. It's not super mathematical, but you kind of get the picture here. If I put a parentheses around the whole equation, what I'm saying is I'm going to multiply everything by 30, right? So I didn't explain why I chose that number because I was talking about something else, but here's why. I want the 5 and the 6 to go away, right? And by go away, I mean I don't want any denominators. I don't want any fractions, right? Fractions are difficult, right? It's hard to add fractions. Ugh, gross. I mean, you could do it in a calculator, I guess, but yeah, no. So instead, what you do is you just multiply by whatever the fractions are, right? So 5 and 6, I need to multiply by both of those numbers. Well, what's 5 times 6? It's 30. So I'm going to multiply everything by 30. That's going to get rid of the fractions. All right, so 30, need to distribute into this first term here. 30 times 1 is 30. Shocker. Divided by 5 is 6. So this is 6h. Okay, do it again. 30 times 1, shocker, again, 30. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 5h. And then again, 30 times 1. It's still 30. All right, so then we just need to add these guys up. These are like terms. They have the same h thing going on here, so we can add them up. 6 h's plus 5 h's makes 11 h's equals 30. And then we would just divide both sides by 11. All right, so I'm actually going to do this part in the calculator because I don't feel like doing that math in my head. So 30 divided by 11 is 2.72 repeating, meaning it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. We don't want to do that, though, because they say round to the nearest hundredth at the directions at the top there in bold. So hundredth means 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. So that would be 2.72. The third decimal place is a 7, which rounds the 2 up to a 3. So it's 2.73. And actually, this is the approximate answer. So I put an equal, like a bar, and then a squiggly above that, which means it's not like the real answer, it's the rounded answer. You don't necessarily have to do that, but some teachers are sticklers about those freaking units. You gotta watch out for those things. If your teacher is not a stickler for those units, then good for you. But if they are, don't give them any cause to mark you wrong. Go ahead and include those units in there. All right, so the units are hours. All right, number 2. So I'm going to do, we're going to kind of start to create a formula for this as we go. So number 2, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to look at the pattern from number 1 and start to create a formula for this, okay? So Shauna can pour a large concrete driveway in 6 hours. Oh, good for you, Shauna. Dan can pour the same driveway in 7 hours. Oh, man. Got beat out by Shauna. All right, well, Shauna's the better concrete pourer, apparently. Find out how long it would take them if they worked together. This is asking the same thing as number 1. It just has 2 different numbers. Well, actually, only one number that's different because we have a 6 in both questions. So really only one number is different. The 5 changed to a 7. Like, literally, that's the only difference. Because the context doesn't really matter. Like, the concrete versus digging a ditch doesn't matter. Because what we're trying to solve is the same. All right? So what we can do, actually, is if you look back at number 1. So look over here at number 1. See this guy right here? This guy right here is pretty cool. Because this, if you notice, says 6h plus 5h equals 30. All right? This is almost completely solved. Almost. And we're going to actually use this formula for number 2, and then we're going to use another better formula for number 3. And there's a method to my madness behind this, but just bear with me. So 6h plus 5h, why? It ended up being 6 and 5. Well, those are the same numbers that are in the problem, 6 and 5. So if we follow that pattern here, then it would be 7H and 6H. But you don't have to go in that order. You're adding them, so you could do 6H and 7H. Doesn't really matter. But, we've got a 6 and a 7. Okay, and then it equaled 30. Where did we get that 30 from? Well, we got 30 from, 5 times 6, right? So what's 6 times 7? 42. Oh, there we go. So we skipped ahead several steps just by following the pattern. And here's the formula, right? So if the amount of time that each of these people take to do their job is, let's say, A and B, so we'll use letters instead of numbers here, then it would look like this. AH plus BH equals A times B. So that is a general formula, right? So you can skip all the fraction nonsense and just get straight to that formula, right? That's an easier formula. We're going to make an even easier one next, but let's go ahead and solve this problem. So 7 plus 6, what's that? I think it's like 13, right? 13H. Check my math, make sure I'm right. So 13, all right. What's 42 divided by 13? I don't know, but my calculator does. 42 divided by 13 is 3.23. And don't forget those units. We're still in hours, so throw that in there. And done and done. See, that was way faster. Look at that. And we're going to go even faster for number 3. All right, so we just did 1 and 2. Let's move on to 3. Let's use this general formula. I'm not a huge fan of the H, actually, because it could be like minutes, and then you'd have to change it to like M. We could use T for time. But I kind of just want to use X because it's such a common letter to use when you're solving for stuff. So I'm going to use AX plus BY. Oh, not BY, sorry. BX. About to write standard form of a line. AX plus BX equals AB. Okay, so this is what we just had for number 2, but I just used X instead of H. So this is not a better formula yet. I mean, unless you think X is a superior letter to H. So, if you do, then good job. But so every time, what we've been doing here is number 1, number 2. Look, if you look at number 1 and number 2 real quick, 6H plus 5H is 11H. Right? So we had to add the two numbers, and then we divide. We divide 30 by that 11. Right? Same thing over here. We added the 6 and the 7, and then we have it equal to 42. Right, for number 2 over here, and then we divide 42 by 13. Right, so if we generalize that, well, that means we'd have A plus B, whatever that is, times X, equal to AB. And then we divide that on both sides. A plus B, whatever that is, right? So X is equal to AB, meaning A times B, all over the quantity A plus B. So this is the magic formula. This is it. This is the formula that gets you the answer right away, right? You can just take all the numbers, plug them into the formula, and spit out the answer. Okay, this is awesome. So check this out. Let's use this formula here. So X equals, all right, what's A and what's B, right? So remember, don't get this formula messed up. This only works if we're talking about each individual person and how long they take. And we're trying to figure out how long it takes them to get the answer together. Okay, that's important because when we get to number 5, we're not going to be solving for how long it takes them to do the work together anymore. All right, they start to get crafty. So this is only going to work for 3 and 4, and then maybe later on. I didn't check all the numbers just yet, but we might come back to this later, right? But if we want to find out how long it takes them to work together, we use this formula. All right, so anyways, let's figure out how long it takes. It takes Trayvon 10 hours to clean an attic. Cody can clean the same attic in 7 hours. Oh, he does it faster. Good job, Cody. So 10 hours, 7 hours, those are our two numbers. Literally, we just do this. Watch. So A is 10. Okay. B is 7. All right. Divided by 10 plus 7. And then just type that in, right? So if you didn't want to do any math at all, you'd have to be careful to plug in a parentheses. But I think we can do just a little bit of math before we plug this in. So actually, let me do it both ways. So if we were to do it with like the no mental math option, okay, then here's how you would type it in the calculator. You ready? 10 times 7 divided by, open parentheses, 10 plus 7, close parentheses, enter. Right? So if you're using like a TI-30XA, it won't work exactly like that because TI-30XAs are garbage and they work backwards and you have to type everything in backwards and they're just terrible calculators, right? So if you have a TI-30XA, then if you don't need it for class, just throw it in the garbage and get a better one. But if you're using a regular calculator that works normally, like the one I'm using, then that's exactly how you would type it in. 10 times 7 divided by parentheses 10 plus 7, close parentheses, enter. If you miss any of those things, you will not get the answer that I got, which is 4.12. Okay, but if you're not as good at typing in parentheses stuff in a calculator, because sometimes you forget to put parentheses or I don't know, something, then just do a little bit of mental math first, right? So 10 times 7, that's 70. 10 plus 7, 17. And then type that in. That's a lot easier. So 70, and it's so easy that even a TI-30XA can do this. 70 divided by 17 is, oh, look at that, same answer, 4.12. 4.12. And I don't know why I have an extra dot in there. It's only supposed to be 1 point. It's not 0.4.12. That would make no sense. 4.12. 4.12 what? Oh, hours again. All right, so hours. And that's it, right? So we're going to go even faster on number 4. This is the last one before we start solving for something different here. All right, so check this out. 5 hours. Jenny, 9 hours. Working together. Okay, so 5 and 9. So here we go. 5 times 9 divided by parentheses. 5 plus 9, close parentheses, enter. The answer is 3.21. X equals 3.21 hours. It's hours again, right? Yeah, hours. And that's it, right? So if you know the formula, right, the formula is X equals AB over A plus B. If you know the formula, you don't have to solve anything. You just type it into the calculator, right? Now, you could say like, oh, but that's just another formula to memorize. Well, you either memorize the formula or you do it the way I did it on number 1. So, it's your choice. All right, number 5. Let's switch colors again. I like to switch colors every 2 problems. It's just kind of a thing I started doing. So, just try to keep things lively here. Working together, Paul and Daniel can pick 40 bushels of apple. I haven't seen that word in a while. A bushel. It's actually a U.S. customary measurement. Fun fact. So, working together. This is the answer, right? Well, they're not asking for how long they can, or how long it would take them to work together, because they already gave us that number, right? So, it says find out how long it would take Paul to do it alone. Oh, Paul. He lost his friend Danny, and he's got to do it by himself now. He still got to get the work done. Okay, so they picked the bushels together. Let's not start with how we started out on number 1, right? So this would work. This would work. But how about we just start with the equation before we solved it for x? Why don't we just do that? We'll save ourselves some time here. AX plus BX equals AB, right? AX plus BX equals AB. That's the general formula that works for all of these problems, okay? We just wouldn't use the AB over A plus B formula because that's solved for how long it would take them if they worked together. We already know that, so we're not solving for that. So let's go ahead and solve number 5 just using this formula, and then for number 6, we'll create a new formula that solves the new question that they're asking that you could just plug it into the calculator and get the answer. All right, so let's do this. So let's say A is Paul, right? So how long does it take Paul? Well, we don't know. It says find out how long it would take Paul to do it alone, so I guess that means we don't know. So A, okay. X, that's how long it takes them to do it together. Okay, so 4.95 plus B, how long it takes Danny. It looks like 9 hours. It takes Danny 9 hours. All right, so 9 times 4.95. And then that equals AB. Well, we don't know A, again. And we do know B, 4.95. Okay, so here we go. And I don't feel like multiplying 9 and 4.95 in my head, so I'm going to do that in the calculator. 4.95. 44.55. Well, that's kind of a nice number. 44.55. symmetry going on there. 4.95a. I'm going to just write the number before the letter because it just looks nicer. You don't have to. Wait, hold on. I did something wrong here. A, B, oh, this was 9. Sorry, I made a boo-boo. This was 9 right here. I was like, hold up, that would cancel out. And this is 9 over here because it's A, B. B is the amount of time it takes the, other person to do their work. So 9A. Okay, 4.95. All right, so now we got our formula here. And I knew that was a boo-boo in part because I just, could kind of sense it. But also because the A stuff would have canceled out. And we would have, like, no solution. Which is not possible because this is a word problem. So, in theory, no solution is possible. Like, when two lines don't cross, it's because they're parallel and there's no solution. That's not what's happening here. All right, this is a real life, thing going on here. So we're going to get a real life answer. We want to combine the A's. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go into detail about every little, tip and trick to solve equations really well and do it fast and understand them completely. I'll put some links for other videos that I've done on explaining equations in great detail, but basically we want to get the A's together. So we could either subtract 9a from both sides, which we could do, or we could just subtract 4.95a on both sides. So 9 minus 4.95, 4.05. I feel like I'm getting lazier and lazier as we go here. I just did that in the calculator, and I definitely could have done that in my head. But too late now. 44.55 divided by 4.05. Oh, it's exactly 11. How nice of them to give us a nice, clean answer. All right, so 11, and time is still in hours. Man, they have not changed that at all. I'm expecting them to change it, and they just haven't. Looks like everything's hours. Actually, I kind of want to see. What do we got? Minutes! Ah! I knew it. Number 9 and number 10, they've changed it to minutes. Be careful. Hours. Hours. Okay. Yeah, so number 9 and number 10 are in minutes. All the other ones are in hours. Tricky, tricky. And hopefully you don't have that teacher that will be like, oh, well, you didn't put in minutes, you put hours. Therefore, you're wrong. And, she or he would be technically right. But, anyways. Let's go ahead and build a real formula here. Just like we did on number 3. We built a master formula so that you can just type it into the calculator and get the answer. All right, so let's do that with number 6 here. Okay, and that way we can use this for, the later problems that are going to happen. We want to solve for either A or B. It doesn't matter if we solve for A or B, because A could be the first person or A could be the second person. So we don't have to do both. We just need to solve for one. So let's solve for A. Right? So AX plus BX equals AB. Okay. If we want to solve for A, we want to get the stuff that has A in it on one side. So let's do that. Let's subtract AB on both sides so that it's no longer over here. And I have all the A stuff on the left. So conversely, we want to get all the not A stuff on the right. So we want to subtract BX from both sides. So we have AX minus AB equals negative BX. Now, I like to do this thing where if most of the terms are negative, I like to multiply everything by a negative because I like to be positive and try to eliminate as much negativity as I can here. So we're going to change the sign on everything. If I did that a little fast, scrub back a couple seconds, 10, 20 seconds or whatever, and check that out again. I did that pretty fast, but what I did was I changed the sign on every term. You can do that because what I'm basically doing mathematically is multiplying both sides by -1. Okay, so now let's order it so that the positive thing is first. So now it looks like this. Okay, not necessary. I just like to do it this way because it means less negative signs. Okay, then we're going to factor out A. Bear with me here. I'm creating an awesome formula for you to solve these problems. And you'll notice it looks a lot like the original formula. So number 3, let's go back to number 3 here. Number 3, the formula was X, which is the amount of time it takes them to do the work together, is equal to AB over A plus B. Okay? So this is pretty cool because the other formula that we just created here is almost identical. A, so the amount of time it takes one person to do the work, is equal to B times X. So we're still multiplying the two things, right? AB, BX, right? So it's pretty much exactly the same. Over, this is the only difference. This is the only difference. On the bottom, it was A plus B. Now it's B minus X, okay? So we're subtracting, and you're subtracting the part, right? The one person's time minus the total time together. You have to not mix that one up. If you did it the other way around, you would get a negative, which I guess is not the worst thing ever because it would be the same number just with the wrong sign, so you could just eliminate the negative sign. But if your teacher looks at your work and they see that you did that, they might count you off. So yeah, if it's multiple choice, just do whatever you want because if it's negative, that's not going to make any sense because we're talking about real life here. Like it's not going to take negative hours to get something done, right? Unless you're Chuck Norris or God. So A equals BX over B minus X. We have a magic formula. Let's go ahead and find out what the answer is. All right, did enough jabbing for right now. So B, what's B? Natalie takes 12 hours. Okay, so 12 times X, the amount of time it takes them to do the work together, Jenny and Natalie, 5.14. Okay, divided by parentheses B, which is the one person by themselves, 12, minus the total time, 5.14. Okay, and that equals 8.99. So A equals 8.99, so basically 9. But they did tell us around to do decimal places hours. And that is the answer. Okay, so it took me a while to do number 6 only because I was building the formula for you guys. Now that we have the formula, it takes like 2 seconds to get the answer. All right, so that's pretty nice actually. All right, let's look at the next one, and I'm going to change colors again. Okay, Rob can tar a roof in 9 hours. Okay. One day his friend Kayla helped him, and it only took 4.74 hours. Kayla helped him, right? So that's the time together. How long would it take Kayla? So what formula are we going to use? We're going to use the one we just created. A equals BX over B minus X. Okay, so we're solving for A, which is going to be whatever they're asking us, right? So Kayla is A. Okay, how long would it take Kayla to be a loner, aka to do it alone? So A equals B, the other person, right? So Rob, 9 hours. Okay. X, how long it takes them to do it together, 4.74, over B, right? So that's Rob again, minus the time it takes to them to do it together, 4.74. Okay. And I'm just going to type it in all at once again. 9 times 4.74 divided by parentheses 9 minus 4.74, close parentheses, enter. The answer is 10.01. 10.01. And we're still in hours. Not until we get to 9 and 10. We're going to be in minutes. All right, working alone. Kristen takes 11 hours. Kayla can harvest the same field in 16 hours. Oh, they're switching back on us. Oh, trying to be crafty over here. Because look, Kristen 11, okay. Kayla can harvest the same field in 16 hours. It doesn't mention Kristen. This is just Kayla. So this is the OG. All right, this is their individual times that it takes them to harvest the field. How long would it take if they work together? Aww. So we use the original formula, the OG formula. X equals AB over A plus B. All right, this one you don't have to mess up because A plus B is the same thing as B plus A. The other one, B minus X, you don't want to mess that up. It's not that big of a deal if your teacher's not checking your work though, because you just, get rid of the negative before you lock in that final answer. But anyways, let's go ahead and type this in. This one shouldn't take too long. 11 times 16 divided by parentheses 11 plus 16, close parentheses, 6.52. 6.52 hours. And we're done. That's it. All right, we just got a few more here. If you're working on this worksheet together with me, we're almost done. I mean, you can see it on your worksheet if you've got it printed out because you have to do this for homework or whatever. We're almost there, y'all. And it won't take that much longer because we have, I'm thinking the only two formulas we need to solve this. I haven't looked at 9 through 12 yet, but let's do that now. Let's look at 9 through 12. All right, so I'm going to change color a little. Crystal can wax a floor in 16 minutes. Don't forget the new term, right? So minutes. We're going to have to make sure we say minutes. One day, our friend Perry helped her, and it took 5.76. How long would it take Perry to do it alone? All right, so we need the second formula. All right, so A equals B x over B minus x. All right, so Perry is A, Perry the platypus, and Crystal is B, all right? And x is how much time it takes them to do it together. All right, so then B, Crystal again, 16, minus together time, 5.76. And here we go again, 16 times 5.76 divided by parentheses 16 minus 5.76 close parentheses is exactly 9. Look at those guys being so nice to us. Don't forget to put the correct units. Correct units are minutes this time, so you can abbreviate to MIN. Usually that's fine. If your teacher doesn't like you to abbreviate minutes to MIN, then they're crazy, and you need to get a schedule change if you still can. Okay, so Dan can sweep. Oh, Dan again. Man, they really like this guy, Dan. Maybe he was one of the writers of this worksheet. Okay, so 15 minutes. Alberto, same porch, 11 minutes. Okay, so this is them by themselves again, right? So we use the OG formula. X is equal to Dan, 15. Then Alberto, 11 over 15 plus 11. All right, so 15 times 11 divided by, ooh, let's do this. 15 plus 11, what's that? It is 26. So the answer is 6.35. 6.35. And this one's in minutes again, right? So minutes. Yeah, those were the only two that were in minutes. I don't know. They just wanted to throw a little curveball at you there. But all the rest of these questions are all in hours. You always gotta watch out for that, though. All right, Ryan, 10 hours. Okay. Asanji? I think that's how you pronounce that. If that's not how you pronounce that, I'd love to know how to correctly pronounce that. Let me know in the comments. Asanji can paint the same fence in 8 hours. Okay, so individual times. We're going to use the OG formula. All right, so 10 times 8. Let's try to do this in our head. I think we can do this in our head, maybe. Plus 8. So what was that? 80, 18. Yeah, I think that goes in evenly. Or no, it doesn't. Just kidding. I thought 90 over 18. That would go in evenly. This is not going evenly. All right, so I'm just going to type that in the calculator. 80 divided by 18. Yeah, it does not. 4.4 repeating, so 4.44. Hours is the final answer. All right, and speaking of final answer, here is the final answer. Oh, Asanji again. That's Asanji twice. Huh, okay. So Dan and Asanji were the two that I noticed. All right, anyways, again, with this 10-foot by 10-foot hole, remember, that doesn't matter. All right, they're just trying to get the job done. All right, 8 hours. Brenda can dig the same hole in 9 hours. How long would it take for them to do it together? All right, so OG formula again. X equals 8 times 9 over 8 plus 9. 8 times 9 divided by 8 plus 9. Oh, 9. There we go. 4.24. All right. So, hope this video has been helpful. In the description, I have a really cool extra resource that is for free on my website. It is titled The 5 Math Mistakes Everyone Makes and How to Avoid Them. It's really awesome. It helps you to basically do exactly what it sounds like. The title is exactly what it does. It helps you to understand like what you're normally doing wrong to get the answer wrong, and then how to not do the wrong thing, which results in getting the right answer. So if you like getting the right answer on your math problems, go check that out. It's on my website, myersmathematics.com, and you just sign up and it delivers it straight into your email. Cool. All right, well, here's the answers, right? If I got one of the answers wrong, let me know in the comments. You can send me some hate. I welcome all comments. Tell me if my face looked ugly or something. Yeah, so here's all the answers. You have access to this too, by the way, because remember, you can just Google this, right? That's what I did. I just Googled this. Word problems. Kuta software. All right, I am going in order, but you can just Google it and find this too. So, and also shoot me an email. My email should be in the comments as well. Shoot me an email if you want to sign up for tutoring, or if you just want me to send you this. I'm not extremely tech savvy, so I don't think there's a way to like put PDFs in the description of a YouTube video. But if there is, let me know. But if you just want this with all the answers on it and all the work and everything, just shoot me an email and I'll send it over to you. But anyways, that's it, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in another video real soon.